Good morning, everybody. What a revelation. There's inflation out there. What a joke. You wonder why the market has such a reaction, but sometimes say, what's the saying? Sell the rumor, buy the news. Well, we'll see if this, I don't think it's going to be an exhaustion gap. Um, so the futures gapping down here, they were up earlier this morning. And when they were up before the news, I thought, maybe it's trying to make a short-term bottom here. Well, if it was gapping over the high of the, well, we'd have to look at the spiders for that, but this is overnight trading. But if it had closed up there and we had three bars with the lows in the same area, that would be potentially at least a bounce type of a setup within a downtrend. Let's see if it held. You're talking futures, I guess so, McGraw, since we can't see SPX. Whether it holds, how long it holds, I guess we'll see. The same factory work. That's a monster size wide range bar on the 60, but the same type of scenario. Does it stay in the lower half for a half hour or a couple hours or whatever? Does it keep dropping? I mean, ultimately, we're looking for it to come down here, somewhere down in this area there. I guess we've got to drag that down a little bit. Somewhere down in here. You're not hearing anything? I think everyone hears. Yeah, okay. So, holding for the moment, we'll see. Things get climactic. You look at the 5-minute, going down like that, and we see the momentum slowed. Distance between the lows. We don't need the indicators. Look to the left. Greater than 100% retracement, taking out the lows. So, technically, based on how we look at the charts, would make sense for it to bounce in that area. We'll see if it gets above here, but that's a pretty serious intraday bar, no doubt. Coming down like that. And I say this when we see wide range bars, but I'll say it again to remind: wide range bars are power bars, but they're the weakest link in the chart. And so how can something be powerful but the weakest link? Because it creates a void. There's no overhead resistance. So there's this little consolidation right there, as you could see. And above that, there's really nothing. Okay, if we went to, say, a 2-minute chart, we could see if there was anything on the way down. And we see a little 1, 2, 3. I guess that was, news leaked because the news is supposed to come out at 8:30, right? But it was on the way down already. Oh, there it is, the 8:30 bar. And then a little holding and down again. And so now as it comes up to resistance, we'll see if sellers are there and what they do. Let's go back to the 5. It's got plenty of room to drop. There's no support. So it has to create support. That's the only way. And at the end of this bar, which has 53 seconds left, it'll mark this as a pivot low, and then we'll have a reference point of support where there was none. And then we take it from there. Right? Where does it go? Does it hold? Does it come W? Does it go sideways? Whatever is going to happen is going to happen. Let's look at SPY. And went down to 390, 394 and a half or whatever. 394 and a half, down near the prior low, same story. Moving down below the prior low and little stabilization back up. Nasty move to the downside. So what we would need to see to short this, right? This is, high risk type of short or low probability type of short, being so extended as it needs to begin to create some resistance, and we'll see if it does there. So, well, See if it pops up a little bit here. 396, opening up at that prior low. So it'll be interesting to see if this holds here and whether, the initial thought before the move down, whether this actually does create a day that it holds here, and maybe we get a short-term little lift off against the downtrend where, we'll see how high it gets. That's the factory work. Here's a pivot high, no pivot low. There's nothing there. But if we get 3 bars going sideways here and it takes out a prior bar's high, well, that would make sense that it could move up a little bit. But to do that, I mean, it's got to regain everything that it lost here on the news. And, back to the idea of power bars and the weakest link, can it retrace all the way back up into the void? And of course, that's going to encourage buyers to think, hey, I should buy this, whether it's short term or, some will think that this is the low, but we'll see. Let's just take a peek at internals here. They are down far enough that there could be a bounce. And I've been thinking and saying, I really think this, and there should be some put buying today, right? With this kind of move down, but it'll be interesting to see if that's the case, meaning those puts are expensive as hell, with a gap down like that. And who's going to be buying them here? It would seem to be a pretty foolish thing to do. But if you're scared to hell, all right, someone will, and we'll see where that ends at the end of the day, where that value, that put call ratio is at the end of the day, and where this is. So this is a 5 MA of the total put call ratio. And one of the things that could be looked at, I'm not going to do it now, would be to go back 5 days ago and see what number is going to drop off. So, and we're just looking at this curve. If it was a relatively high number dropping off, this could spike down, but, we'll see. They've been traders saying, McGraw saying they've been closing the puts and buying, rolling them lower. All right. That's what option traders do. All right. Ultimately, I don't know, Dan has that rolling ball of fire about rolling, and it's something to mention, Dan, maybe in the green room later. I remember you saying in the past how at some point rolling becomes, you can only do it so long before there's just no money in it. But it'd be interesting to hear, maybe, around 11 o'clock or something before you go to the gym. I'd be interested to hear what you talk about with that. Kicking the can down the road, but at some point it doesn't work anymore. Yeah, McGraw saying so. It'd be an interesting conversation. Breath. I mean, this thing, we'll see where this is. Breath has to be god awful, right? Like normally negative breath intraday is like minus 2,000 or so. I would imagine at the open, it's got to be minus 2,500, minus 3,000. Let's see here. No, that's not what I want. Maybe daily breath. You can see it here day to day. We're closed down here at about whatever that was, under minus 2,000. So we'll see where it is intraday, and then where it is at the end of the day if it's really spiked down low. And I imagine it would be if this keeps going down. Okay. SPX. Last I looked, and I'm sure it's losing some of that premium, I was looking at 38.18. I didn't write it down. I should have wrote it down. No, not 38.18. There's no 18. Right now, 38.25. And if we get another dip down, maybe go 38.20, but there's SPX. Even where this is down here at, say, 39.50, to get down near the 3,800, that is a monster type of move today. And all we do is say, where do we think it won't go? And so I don't think it's going down there today. Let's see, what did McGraw write up there? Oh, you're just saying 38.50 held. So anything down near 3,800, And of course, it does get, TC 2000 just cleared the quotes. I'm not going to go look at IB now, but there's a little bit of support down here, as you can see on the weekly chart, 3,900. So anything I think below 3,850, which would be relatively big premiums now, but I think anything below 3,850 would be fine. And maybe even SPY that doesn't have anywhere near the premium that SPX does could be attractive today. Let's see how that pops up. And Q's holding the prior low, same big story, giant wide range bar, getting closer to 12,000. Not quite there. You can see it's beginning to roll over here a little bit. All right. Dow, holding inside bar so far. Plenty of room to drop. Plenty of room. Same story. See if it consolidates here. What it does is avoid above. So shorting is going to be, especially near this prior support here. I wouldn't be anxious. I wouldn't do it. Right? There's no pattern anyway, but I wouldn't do it. Maybe long will be the way to go. I need to see a little bit more, like a breakdown failure, some type of a pattern that shows buyers on the dip. Right, it's an inside bar. This holding up relatively well. Look at that. It's not even down near the prior low here. So showing a little relative strength, but ultimately looking for it to get down here. Bitcoin down 2,000. When you look at something and say, wow, it's down 2,000. But we look at the chart and like, it doesn't look so bad. Right? But it's starting to break these lows here. Jeff asked me, fear driving the market? Hell yeah. Jeff, when you see, put call ratio getting down this low and the market's not bouncing, you better believe there's fear. And with the premium that's in those put options, absolutely. But hey, that's what bear markets are about. It's about fear and about minuscule bounces and selling rallies and so on. So sure, there's fear. Come on, if whatever you bought something up here, we're looking at SPX, you bought up here, or you bought this bounce, you're hiding under the bed with a pillow over your head or something, saying, God, what did I do? Please let it bounce. And it keeps going down. And what we're looking for here is that capitulation move to the downside where, institutions are just vomiting and it gets climactic. How do you tell? It looks something like this, but bigger, where it begins to drop. Intraday, you see, well, that's the beginning of a move, but what we'd want to see with whatever, just a whole bunch of bars. And one of the reasons what I said in the newsletter video, one of my comments was, that's trouble. And that's trouble. So rather than having that fluid movement to the downside where it doesn't rally up, it just keeps going down bar after bar, where it opens at the prior bar's close and it keeps going. And ultimately you get a wide range bar near the end of the move. So there's no hope, right? This is hope, where it rallies back up near the prior bar. They're just throwing in the towel. They sell, believing it's going to keep going down because it looks that way. That's absolutely, Russell. That's why, look, ultimately we're looking for prices to get down into this area, right? Somewhere down here. It had the whole number. It's down below that now. So look, this could bounce at any point, right? Even today could be where prices bounce up a bit because of the big gap down. So, gaps create voids, and even, short covering because of the, you know, the windfall in the moment because of the gap, and that gets a little movement up. But ultimately, you start looking at swings, and does it rally? Any one day means nothing. And this was, look, when I saw this, I said, you know what, I see it's a big bar, but, and yeah, I was, if you were in the room, that's what I said. I said, look, this is impressive, but we've seen green bars fail time and time again. That's the biggest one. And then the next day it cratered. So, all right, let me continue here so Dan can review. Crude oil coming up a little bit. Oh, there's inflation. Really? So moronic. But I mean, look, we can say that all day long, but that's what politicians and governments do. They're not stupid. So we can't assume they're stupid. They're just lying to us. All right. So a little bit of slowing momentum. This bar isn't done yet. Silver, is down here. It's broken the low, greater than 100% retracement concept. Why isn't it rallying up if there's all this inflation? Because the dollar, it's still up here. It's down a little bit. So maybe it begins to bottom out, but the dollar is in a bull market. Sure, it is extended, but it won't break. Right? So the dollar needs to start giving back a little. And this was, look here, look at interest rates hanging up here. I'm gonna hit 380, 308. The idea we talked about a couple of weeks ago was, this coming, up into here, and everything beginning to come together. Not quite all there yet, actually getting above here a bit, so interest rates getting climactic to the upside, markets getting climactic to the downside, real extremes in market internal gauges, and then a bounce from there, and we see where it goes. Right? Gold, down, wanting to make the turn. And of course, the transports should get decimated at the open as well. Waiting to hear the media talk about bear market Dow theory and so on, with the Dow and the transports making not all-time lows, but new lows. And so, the media gets involved in the bear market scenario and so on and so forth. And we'll have at least a short-term low. VIX has to get up near the prior high, right? Right. So maybe it needs to hit 40. We'll see. Put spreads, anything below 3850 should be okay, McGraw. Or closer to 3800. So that little bounce here took some of the juice away. You know how fast it moves. So I would think at the open there'll be another. I think so. We'll see, another little move to the downside, and then we'll see. We'll check the premiums. To you, Dan. Sorry, taking too long.
Good morning. Yeah, that was a crazy pre-market reversal there. I've been complaining about inflation for a year and and the Fed, and it's just so funny how the politicians they just scratch their head. Oh, it's worse than I expected. How many times have we heard that? They want to build a bridge for 500 million. Oh, it turned out to be 18 billion, worse than I predicted. All our opens are fine. We got a couple of great shorts. I'll be tightening stops. I just tightened some stops on a call spreads there. Let's go right to gappers. Do you remember this red box we were watching the other day? And I was wondering what the heck was going on. Look at that, 11, 12 bucks down to 280. That's crazy movements. Varu gapping up 951. Bullish gap. Let's see what it does. A Z Lab. Remember, this was on my list yesterday morning. climactic bicep on major support. I had an alarm set up here, 27, and I don't know what's up with that, but that's a nice gap we can watch. A point, yep. Yeah, and I heard some guy on CNBC saying Piper Jaffray, I don't know when, not today, of course, but a while back, they named that as their best pick with a target of $400. Now, so Greg, do you think they send apology emails to their clients that they got them into at 400, or what do you think they're telling them now at 55? Crazy.
It's even better, average down.
Yeah. So yep, I got this on my get. There's a number of what we call gap and snaps down multiple bars far from the 20. Now you're gapping down another $20. So yeah, that's definitely 30-minute high or earlier. Just put it in the chart. But yeah, it looks great. Wendy's, another kind of gap and snap. Look, it was a climactic buy set up on volume into earnings. And now you're getting whacked and gapping down another dollar and change. Look at uniform. Another gap and snap. Look at this thing. Identical. It's amazing. Massive sell-off on volume, and now you're gapping down huge. This actually turned out to be, wow, Greg, look, Greg, you got to come up with a new name for this. This is a trifecta measured move. Look at that. You got one measured move and two measured moves. Wow. Ruckus, gapping down, 1675. But do you see how this one is not a climactic gap and snap pattern? Because it's negating that nasty bar right there. That poor thing looks lower. Ruckus, that's a bio though. Switch, the way that's going side tight like that, can anyone confirm, is that that looks like a buyout? If it's not a buyout, then that's a very bullish gap. We can put it on our long watch list. Roblex, this looks like all-time lows. Oh, the stocks are getting decimated here, which we want. SJM Thomas, I don't see any pattern. You gotta tell me what you're looking at. RXT. Now today, MT Live, we're doing multiple time frame analysis. And, you know, for new people, bottom left is daily, and I have this little snippet of weekly right here. And it must be a new stock because I don't even see any monthly right now. At least my chart, there's not enough months to where I can see a snippet. But this was a beautiful, beautiful multiple time frame alignment breakdown daily, weekly. The entry, today's Wednesday, the entry was Monday though. Total beautifulness. And then I would have said target $8. You got a big void. Railroad tracks, that was beautiful. Fiverr, here's another one. Getting dead, gapping down almost 25%. This one, Greg, you heard me saying, like, what is going on that this company's worth $330? I'm like, I'm no fundamentalist, but I never understood that valuation. They collect commissions on $5. That's crazy. So now it's back down to 31, all-time lows. Look at Playboy. Playboy was $65. Now it's $7.86. I mean, that's not a gap and snap because it's not gapping down. I don't know what this is. At best possible day trade long is on. Oliver, APCO, day trade long. Abgo, no. There's nothing here. There's no, again, multiple time frames today at noon. The pattern, it has to be on the time frame that you're looking at, and there's nothing anywhere. So no, I don't like that one. Hey, John. All right, so now see that, well, this one, it's a bounce and a downtrend. But hey, Oliver, compare the Oliver. Z Lab is a superior day trade long, maybe 5, 10, 15-minute high, I don't know yet, than Abgo. Now, again, it's just riding the elevator back up, but it's a climactic buy setup, greater than 100% retracement, bullish gap. This is a candidate. Because you know, pattern, multiple time frames. You know, I threw out many concepts actually. Yeah, look at Wendy's bottom right, it's tanking. Well, no interest. Rocket Man's another one. I remember this